Chris, what is our fifth and final main topic today?
Now we're hearing from Tony Stank. Hey everyone, while our hopes of seeing Tom Cruise as Tony Stark didn't come to fruition in Doctor Strange 2, the idea of that portrayal did exist. In a recent interview with Rolling Stone's Doctor Strange 2 writer Michael Waldron did confirm that he asked Kevin Feige about the possibility of having Tom Cruise's Iron Man film. However, it couldn't happen due to availability. Now that the idea was given to Kevin Feige and the Multiverse saga isn't going anywhere, John, do you think we could perhaps see this portrayal actually become a reality? Perhaps a Secret Wars film if that ever happens? What do you think?
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in. Now, of course, going into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, there was an awful lot of theories going around about all these different cameos, because a lot of people thought the name of the movie was Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Cameos. And they thought there were going to be 500 cameos and all that. But one of the names that was really kind of interesting was Tom Cruise as Iron Man. Now, for those of you who don't know or didn't know at the time, that Tom Cruise was originally going to be Tony Stark in the Marvel movie. I mean, he was going to be Iron Man. Now, I can't remember exactly why that ultimately didn't work out, but we were going to see Tom Cruise as Iron Man at one point. The problem is, not a lot of average film fans know that. So I was never really bought into the idea that we were going to see. I mean, I wouldn't have been totally shocked if they did. I mean, I could have seen that happening. Sure, why not? But I never really bought into it because 99% of the movie going on had no idea that Tom Cruise at one point was going to be that. So kind of take that, put it to side, whatever. And of course, the movie came and went, and Tom Cruise is not in the movie as Iron Man. But they were going to do it. It was their idea to actually do it. This comes to us from the folks over at, I believe this is from Rolling Stone. And they asked the writer this. They asked him this. Fans were totally right about Patrick Stewart appearing as an alternate Professor X, but totally wrong about Tom Cruise, who had once been slated to star as Iron Man years before Robert Downey Jr., showing up as an alternate Iron Man. Did fans just totally make up the Tom Cruise thing? And this is what the writer said. Yeah, that was totally made up. I mean, there's no cut footage of Tom Cruise, but I love Tom Cruise. And I said to Kevin Feige at one point, I was like, could we get Tom Cruise's Iron Man? He wanted to, that was a part of his plan to write it into the script. I remember reading about that in Ain't It Cool News back in the day, little shout out to one of the OG movie sites, that Tom Cruise was going to be Iron Man. Then Rolling Stone asked him again. So it's totally made up by the fans, but you also tried to make it up, is what you're saying. Yeah, exactly. It was being talked about online. I was like, yeah, that would be cool. Rolling Stone asks, so what did Kevin Feige say when you asked him that? Well, I mean, he was shooting Mission Impossible 7 and 8. So to be totally clear, did anyone reach out to Tom Cruise? I don't believe so. I just don't think that was ever an option because of availability. All right, and that again comes to us from Rolling Stone, which is a great job to them doing that interview. So here we have the writer saying, yeah, with all the wild speculation, as crazy as it sounded, yeah, that was totally the writer's intention. He's like, you know what? Yep, let's have Tom Cruise as Iron Man in there. Now, of course, what he's saying here makes total sense. Tom Cruise has been like solidly booked for like 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So I don't think he ever had a day that he could have gotten away to do Iron Man. So that totally makes sense. But the idea of it, I mean, without going into who is in the Illuminati, we won't go into that. But the idea of him being one of those on there, that was intriguing. The very fact that they were even playing with that idea is kind of fun. Chris, you hear about this. Number one, are you surprised to hear that they were actually going to go for it because they actually did want to write Tom Cruise's Iron Man in there? And do you think it would have been a good thing that they didn't do it? Or do you think it would have been better if they did?
I mean, it totally makes sense to me because this was the kind of original idea of casting for Iron Man that everyone always talks about. When you look at those old ideas of like, if we had done Marvel in the 80s and 90s, everyone always talks about Tom as Iron Man. So that's no surprise to me. That being said, it would have been cool if he was in there. We're not missing out on anything though, right?
By the way, I love this image Ray made.
Yeah, this is so great.
I love that image.
But it would have been really, really fun. I would have loved to see him maybe as a member of the Illuminati or something. But do we need that cameo? No, we don't. I think it panned out fine.
Rob, what about you?
Well, you know, I can't help but think now that the multiverse is a thing, why not make a superior Iron Man movie with Tom Cruise? Like they could just do it. It would fit in what they've created, and if they are looking toward doing Avengers Secret Wars or something with many alternate versions of characters, like in the series, coming and doing battle, where you have hundreds of characters, hundreds of different variants fighting. Wouldn't it be kind of cool if they did full feature-length versions of a variant character before they did Secret Wars? The same way we got a Thor, Captain America, and a Iron Man movie to start with the Avengers.
Ooh.
What if they did 3 feature-length variant movies and kicked it off with Tom Cruise starring as a variant Iron Man?
Well,
Now, by the way,
superior
I'm
suit
making
scope.
this up. This is not. I've never heard anything like this. I'm just saying it would be cool, and they could do it. I could see Marvel leaning heavily into doing something like that. I don't know, but I'd watch it. What's Tom Cruise going to do after Mission Impossible 8's done shooting?
Whatever he wants.
Yeah.
I know. And what if
What if he wants to play
what if
evil
he
Tony
wants
Stark?
Kevin Feige?
But that leads us into this. So, okay, first of all, they in the question what Tony Stank wrote in, by the way, great username. What they wrote in asked is like, okay, but now could they do this or this? Remember, they weren't talking about Tom Cruise having a serious role in Doctor Strange. They were talking about giving him a quick, fun cameo.
Sure.
There were no plans of taking Tom Cruise's Iron Man and making him a real character in these things. Plus, I'll tell you the biggest reason why it probably won't happen. Nothing's impossible. But here's the biggest reason why I don't think you're going to see Tom Cruise in anything other than maybe someday a fun, quick little shot cameo.
Sure.
Tom Cruise for the past decade has absolute control over the movies that he does. Whether it's Top Gun, Mission Impossible, whatever movies Tom Cruise does, he's the boss and he's in charge of all that. Is he going to now take a year and a half out of his filmmaking endeavors to go and do Marvel, where he literally would become a hired day worker? I don't think
That's a good point.
I don't think Tom Cruise is interested in that, to be honest with you. So yeah, it was never meant to be a real legitimate character in the universe. It was going to be a quick cameo. And I just don't see Tom Cruise walking into something unless Kevin Feige were to say to him, tell you what, Tom, you have control of this movie, which Kevin Feige would never, ever do. So I really can't see it happening. But I got to admit, as much as I didn't really think it would happen in the movie, it kind of would have been fun.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting there in the theater the first time when the Illuminati scene happens. We see this in the trailer. It's not a spoiler.
Yeah.
There's an Illuminati scene in the trailer. We know this. If the Illuminati scene happened, as the camera panned down, if all of a sudden there's Tom Cruise going, and whatever, and he's Tony Stark, I would have gotten a kick out of it. Yeah. I admit that, but I don't think it's going to happen.
For sure. I think the only way he'd do this is if Feige built him an actual Iron Man suit so he could do all the stuff.
And he could actually fly. Because, okay, Kevin, yeah, that's great, but how do I actually do this for real without CGI?
I have no interest unless I get to shoot lasers out of my hands.
The one thing about Tom Cruise, though, I am a Tom Cruise acolyte. I've loved him. I've been a huge fan all the way back to Risky Business in 1983, which is my favorite teen comedy of the 80s. Watching him do Les Grossman in Tropic Thunder.
Glorious.
I mean, and the fact that he told Ben Stiller, I want to dance and I want to have fat hands. He tells that story all the time. I'm like, good for you, Tom, because for all the power he has and the seriousness that he takes all this, he's always, whenever he goes on the Graham Norton show or something, like he did his impression of Donald Duck. If you've never seen Tom Cruise, it's pretty good. And I think that he might be down after Mission Impossible 8. I could see him wanting to be, you know what? I'm a little tired. I just want to come in, tell me what to do. I want to have fun. I don't want to be the guy who has all the weight of the world on his shoulders. I could see him doing it because he's got that fun streak in him.
Maybe, but I'll tell you what, 10 days out of 10, I want Tom Cruise's Les Grossman movie more than I want a him and Iron Man movie.
Oh, dude.
I want that so bad.
It would, especially, you haven't watched The Offer yet.
No.
Matthew Good playing Bob Evans. Give that man, make a Bob Evans series because his performance is so good as Bob Evans. And every time I watch it, I think, I want a Les Grossman movie.
I want that movie so bad.
How great would that be?
It would be pretty damn good. All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? Apparently, the writer of Doctor Strange 2 was going to have Tom Cruise's Iron Man in that, and it was just a matter of they couldn't make the schedule work. Do you think that would have been cool? Do you hope they will do something like that down the road in the future? Whatever you guys think, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, we want to take a second and thank the sponsor of this video, Harry's. Now, take a look at me. When is the last time you saw me have this close and smooth of a shave? The answer is never, because I haven't been using the Harry's starter set until now. Using Harry's, I have gotten the most comfortable, smoothest shave that I've had in years, and that's no exaggeration. And right now, Harry's is giving their best offer to our viewers and listeners. First-time Harry's customers can redeem a starter set for just $3 at harrys.com/Campea. That includes a 5-blade cartridge, a weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and a travel cover to protect your blades on the go. That's a $13 value, all for just $3. Seriously, guys, why pay so much more for other products when Harry's prioritizes simple, quality craftsmanship at a fair price? And it is time to move on from blades that barely hold up, because with Harry's, guys who've tried it say that their 8th shave is just as sharp as their first. And you're going to have a really hard time finding other competitors that have a satisfaction rating as high as Harry's. And they're still offering a no-risk trial. You don't like your shave? No problem. It's on them. New look, same incredible offer. There's really never been a better time to give Harry's a try. Just go to harrys.com/Campea today and get your starter set for just $3. That's harrys.com/Campea.